I get it every time I scroll through those glossy Amazon listings. I see a dehumidifier that promises industrial strength performance and all-in-one water damage restoration. But then I read the reviews and wonder if I'm just buying a pricey fan that will sit in the corner and collect dust. I've been there, and the last thing I want is to spend a weekend setting up equipment that barely moves the moisture out of a basement or a flood-damaged kitchen. That hesitation is what drove me to actually dig into the specs, watch a few unboxing videos, and compare the real-world feedback for a handful of commercial-grade kits before I decided whether the ALORAIR combo was worth the price tag. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, this isn't a single appliance you'd toss on a small bathroom shelf. The ALORAIR package bundles one 180-pint dehumidifier, 2 air movers, and an air scrubber into a single commercial-grade kit. It's marketed toward professionals doing water damage restoration, but it's also being pitched to DIY homeowners who have a busted pipe, a leaky roof, or a lingering humidity problem after a storm. The key question is whether you really need that whole trio, or if you're better off buying the pieces separately. Let's talk about the dehumidifier itself. At 180 pints per day, it's sized for larger spaces, think a 500 square foot basement or a commercial workshop. In practice, that means it can pull roughly 3 gallons of water out of the air every 24 hours under optimal conditions, around 80% and 80% relative humidity. If you've got a flooded floor that's still damp after the initial extraction, that capacity can be a game changer. I saw a video where a contractor set the unit up in a 2-car garage after a pipe burst, and after about 12 hours the water level in the collection tank was already at the halfway mark. That's the kind of throughput you need when you can't afford to wait days for a mold-free environment. The 2 air movers are the kind of high-velocity fans you see on construction sites, designed to push air across wet surfaces and speed up evaporation. In the field, they're most useful when you pair them with the dehumidifier. The fans circulate the moist air toward the dehumidifier's intake, which then pulls it out of the room. If you just run the dehumidifier alone in a stagnant room, you'll notice a slower drop in humidity because the air isn't mixing well. The air movers also double as drying tools for wall cavities or carpet pads. You can point them into a wall after you pull the drywall down, and the moving air helps the hidden moisture escape faster. Now the air scrubber. This is where the package tries to differentiate itself from a plain dehumidifier. It's essentially a portable air purifier that targets mold spores, VOCs, and other airborne contaminants that often accompany water damage. In a real-world scenario, after you've extracted standing water, the air can become a breeding ground for mold spores that get kicked up by the fans. The scrubber uses a HEPA filter and an activated carbon element to trap those particles and neutralize odors. For someone dealing with a newly flooded basement, that can keep the air from smelling like a damp cellar and reduce the health risk for anyone spending time in the space during the drying process. So, who should actually buy this combo? If you're a professional restoration contractor, the answer is a clear yes. You already have the knowledge to set up the equipment correctly, you need the capacity to handle multiple jobs back-to-back, and the bundled price is usually better than buying each component from different suppliers. The real value for pros is the integrated control system. Most units in this package can be wired together, so you can monitor humidity levels, fan speeds, and filter status from a single interface. That saves time and reduces the chance of a missing component slowing down the whole job. For a DIY homeowner, the picture is a bit more nuanced. If you've just had a modest leak in a single room, a 180-pint dehumidifier is probably overkill, and the 2 air movers might be more power than you need. In those cases, a smaller 70-pint unit plus a single fan could do the job for a fraction of the cost. However, if you're facing a larger issue, say a basement that's been flooded for a few days, or you're renovating a space that's prone to high humidity, having the extra capacity and the air scrubber can make the difference between a quick, dry finish and a lingering damp problem that leads to mold. The key is to assess the square footage and the volume of water you're dealing with before you commit. What about the downsides? The biggest practical weakness I found is the size and weight. The dehumidifier alone weighs about 80 pounds, and the 2 fans add another 30+ pounds each. Moving the whole kit up a narrow staircase or into a tight crawl space can be a real hassle. The package does include wheels on the dehumidifier, but you still